I used to find that writing by hand is very time consuming. This next tip is literally a game changer, and then it just sticks. Like, it doesn't, you'll never forget it again, and you'll be like, oh, how am I speaking Korean right now? Today I'm going to show you exactly what I do to improve my Korean and to see steady progress without plateauing. And make sure you stay until the end, because I'm gonna reveal the most important thing that will make a really huge difference in your learning. Oh, by the way, nothing in this video is sponsored, because this is literally my second video on this channel, but these are just things that I genuinely use and have really helped me. So the first tool that I use is Italki. So this is an online website where there are millions of Korean tutors, and I think there are group classes as well, but there are loads of tutors that do one-to-one tuition for really affordable prices. Some teachers also teach fully in Korean, but it's completely up to you, whatever you prefer. My current teacher right now is Rimi, and she has really helped me because she teaches in Korean, which I think is really good for intermediate learners, because she explains things. If I don't understand a word, she explains it in Korean, so it kind of forces your brain to like think in Korean, if that makes sense, and that is like a really big boost to your learning. So that's something that I'd really recommend for intermediate learners. But Italki also has a lot of teachers that teach completely in English. It just depends on your preference. The second tool I use is group classes. Now, I know that a lot of people can't afford to do courses, and even online or offline they can be very expensive, which is what put me off for a really long time, until I found these online Korean courses currently being taught by Korean Philip and his wife Ruth. They do online and in-person lessons, and it's only £50 for 6 weeks, and each lesson is an hour, so I think it's really worth. Also, just having like a thing that you need to show up to every week and being part of a community and having that structure really helps motivate you to keep going instead of being completely self-taught. I think their next term starts in September, so if you want to sign up, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can do that. If you hate using flashcards, just stop using them. I found that Quizlet, and this is not sponsored, Quizlet has actually helped me remember vocab really effectively, because it has these games. So what I do is I organize all my vocab into different folders and different groups, and then I use the games on Quizlet to help me memorize them, which makes it a lot more fun and has actually really helped the words stick to my brain. I don't know what kind of psychology that is, but I especially like the blast game and the Tetris looking game, and the fact that you can add pictures as well. Like, associating words with pictures really helps your brain remember the word. So to get familiar with the words, I play the blast game, which is like a race against time. You need to try and get as many words right as possible, and then once I'm kind of familiar with them, I'll go on to the blocks game, and then it will prompt the word in English and you have to spell it out in Korean. And surprisingly, I don't know how, but I just knew how to spell them. I think from looking at them so much and pronouncing them, so every time I read them out I pronounce them out loud, and that also helps. And then between every word I get to put a couple of blocks into the thing. I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's just really fun, and it's really helped me. Why I stopped using notebooks. I used to find that writing by hand is very time consuming, and even though it is good to physically spell out the word, the fact that it's in a notebook that I'm going to keep in my drawer because I don't have space on my desk to have it out. Also, I tend to make a lot of mistakes when I write, so then it just ends up looking really messy and unorganized, and I can't move things around. But on Notion, I can kind of make a digital textbook where I have all my vocab, all my lessons recorded in one place, and because it's digital I can access it wherever I go. I don't actually know how to use Notion that well, I just kind of use the basics. I think it's really helpful to just keep all your notes in one organized place, and you can reorganize it however you want. I even have this like grammar thing where I just keep all the grammar that I've learned in one place. I think writing in a notebook would be good if you want to actually practice your handwriting, but for like learning, I think Notion is pretty good. I also bought these Korean keyboard stickers for my keyboard. I bought them on Amazon, but it also kind of helps you like know where the letters are when you're typing, because you'll probably be typing Korean and texting Korean more than you would be physically writing it. Okay, so everything I've mentioned so far is really helpful for studying, and it's a good routine to get into for actively learning. But this next tip is literally a game changer that will take all of this stuff that you've really worked hard on and move it to the next level, and that is listening. And I don't mean to K-pop. You can listen to 5 hours of K-pop songs a day and it won't be super effective, just because the way that they sing and the words that they use, it doesn't have the same intonation as in like a real life conversation. You have to think about it as, how do children learn growing up? They just hear it all the time. Or like, how do people who live in Korea learn so quickly? Because they're just constantly hearing it, even subconsciously. Even watching K-dramas isn't super effective if you're reading the English subtitles. When when I do that, it's really hard for me to like try and understand the Korean while also trying to understand what they're saying in English, because the grammar is completely backwards. So sometimes I actually understand better when it's just in Korean rather than having the English translation. And also a lot of the times the English translation is not very accurate. Some things I like to listen to is I use Palette podcast interview, Diddy's Korean podcast, celebrity interviews, just anything that you're interested in as well. You can have it on while you're cooking, while you're cleaning, while you're on the bus, while you're driving, literally while you're doing anything. You don't even need to pay attention to what they're saying. Just by hearing it all the time, you'll start to recognize grammar and vocab that you might have learnt and forgotten about, and then you hear it and you're like, oh, I know that word, and then it just sticks. Like it doesn't, you'll never forget it again. So like an example for me, so I think I learnt the word 완벽하게, which means perfectly, and then I kind of forgot about that word, but then I started hearing it in a podcast all the time and I was like, oh my god, I know what that means. It's almost effortless. You just need to be hearing it all the time, and it just pairs perfectly with all the really hard work of studying that you do. And you don't even need to memorize every single word that you learn, because once it enters your brain, it might not stick at first, but if you keep hearing it, eventually it will just stay. And this ties into speaking as well, because as much input as you get, you also need to have output, and this is also how children learn, by speaking even though it might be wrong. Making those mistakes in speaking is how they learn. Shadowing is a really good example. So that's when you watch or hear someone speaking Korean and you copy what they say exactly how they say it. So you copy the intonation and the pronunciation. Just by doing that, you kind of convince your brain that you know how to speak Korean, and you'll be like, oh, how am I speaking Korean right now? Even if you don't know what you're saying or what they're saying, it is just really good to just build that muscle. So these are the tools and habits that I use almost every single day. It is hard to do it every day, but even if it's just like 5 to 10 minutes a day of something, the consistency is what is going to get you there eventually. And I think also kind of having an end goal really helps. So I'm going to Korea in October, and by then I want to be able to at least understand maybe 60% of what everyone's saying and be able to engage in like a basic conversation. So if you set that end goal for yourself, it gives you a reason to keep learning. Please let me know if any of these tips help you, or if you have any other tips that could help other people, let me know in the comments. And make sure you stick around until my trip in Korea, because I'm going to be vlogging the whole thing. And I'm really going to put my studying to the test and see if it actually works. So I guess we'll know in October if these tips really pay off in real life. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!